We have seen people who seem to get their way easily in life. They can influence others with just a few well-chosen words. And that is not something that comes by accident. It is a science called persuasion. And today, we will harness it. In this episode, you will discover 6 ways to persuade anyone to say yes. Number 1, ask for small favors. Start small, then ask for more. Imagine walking up to a stranger and asking them to do you a huge favor. Chances are they'll immediately say no. But what if you started by asking them for something much smaller? For example, maybe you could ask them for the time or for directions. After they agree to your small request, you can move on to asking for something slightly bigger. For example, after they tell you the time, you can ask them to help you find a specific store. Once they agree to your second request, you can move on to asking for something even slightly bigger. This is how you build up to asking for bigger favors, and eventually, they will probably say yes. This technique is called the foot in the door technique. It's been proven to work in countless studies and in real-life situations. So try it out next time you need a favor from someone. Just remember to start small and work your way up slowly. Number 2, use scarcity to create urgency. Have you ever noticed how stores use limited time sales to get you to buy things faster? For example, if you see a shirt that you like but it says only 3 left, you're more likely to buy it than if there was no time limit. That's because scarcity creates urgency, and urgency makes us take action quickly without thinking about it too much. Now you can use this same principle to persuade people to do things for you. For example, let's say you want to ask your boss for a raise. You could simply say, "I think I deserve a raise because I've been working hard and I'm a valuable employee." But that's not very persuasive. Instead, you could try using scarcity to create urgency. For example, you could say, "I've been offered a position at another company that pays more than what you currently pay me, and I have to make a decision soon." Now, your boss is much more likely to take your request seriously and actually give you the raise that you deserve. The key is to make the other person feel like they're missing out on something by not agreeing to your request. So next time you need to persuade someone, try using scarcity to create urgency. Just be careful not to overdo it. If you make the offer too time-sensitive, it might backfire. Number 3, give people reasons to say yes. Imagine asking your friend for a big favor and they respond by giving you a bunch of reasons why they can't do it. What would you think? Probably that they don't really want to help you. Now imagine the same situation, but this time your friend gives you a bunch of reasons why they can help you. What would you think now? Probably that they really want to help you. The reason is simple. Our brains love reasons. When we hear a good reason for doing something, we're much more likely to do it. That's why the best salespeople in the world are able to give potential customers plenty of reasons why they should buy their product. So, if you want to persuade someone to say yes, give them lots of reasons why they should. For example, let's say you're trying to convince your friend to help you move. Instead of just asking them and hoping for the best, you could say something like, "Hey, I know you're really strong and I really need some help moving these boxes upstairs. Would you be able to come over and help me out?" By giving your friend specific reasons why they should help you, you're much more likely to get a yes. Of course, it's important to be genuine and only give reasons that are true. Don't try to lie or manipulate the other person into saying yes. Just be honest and upfront about why you're asking for the favor, and they'll be much more likely to agree. If you are enjoying this episode so far, please do me a quick favor. Click the like button below. It really helps out. And while you're at it, why not subscribe? No. 4, leverage the power of the first word. The first word you say when you're persuading someone to say yes can make all the difference. That's because our brains love stories. We are wired to pay attention to stories because they help us understand complex ideas and make decisions quickly. That's why the best storytellers are the most persuasive people in the world. Now, you can use this to your advantage the next time you need to persuade someone to say yes. For example, let's say you're trying to convince your friend to go to a party with you. Instead of just asking them, you could try starting with a story. For example, you could say, "Last week I met this guy who told me an amazing story about how he went to a party and ended up meeting the love of his life. I thought of you immediately." By starting with a story, you're much more likely to get your friend's attention and convince them to go to the party with you. The key is to keep the story short and relevant. Don't try to dazzle them with a long, complicated tale. Just stick to a simple story that's relevant to your request, and you'll be much more likely to get a yes. Number 5. Give people a choice between two options. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to decide between two options instead of a bunch of options? For example, if you're at a restaurant and the waiter asks you what you want to drink, you'll probably find it much easier to choose between water and soda than between water, soda, coffee, tea, juice, and so on. That's because our brains love simplicity. We are more likely to make decisions quickly and easily when we only have a few options to choose from. Now, you can use this to your advantage the next time you need to persuade someone to say yes. For example, let's say you're trying to convince your friend to go see a movie with you. Instead of asking them if they want to go see any of the 5 movies playing in town, you could narrow it down to just 2 options. For example, you could say, "Do you want to go see the new comedy or the action movie with me?" By giving your friend a choice between just 2 options, you're much more likely to get them to agree to go see one of the movies with you. The key is to make the 2 options as similar as possible, except for the one thing you want the other person to agree to. In this case, the only difference between the 2 options is the day of the week. That way, the other person has no excuse to say no because they're sure to prefer one option over the other. Number 6. Make people feel like they're in control. When we feel like we're in control of a situation, we're more likely to agree to things. That's why the best leaders in the world are able to make their employees feel like they're in control of their work. They give their employees autonomy and trust them to make decisions. As a result, their employees are more likely to be productive and successful. Now, you can use this same principle to persuade people to say yes to your requests. For example, instead of telling your friend exactly what to do when you ask them for a favor, give them some options. For example, let's say you need to borrow your friend's car while they're away on vacation. Instead of just asking them to lend you their car, you could say something like, "Hey, would it be okay if I borrowed your car while you're gone?" Of course, if it's not convenient, let me know, and we can arrange something else. By giving your friend the option to say no or to suggest an alternative, you're much more likely to get them to agree to your request. That's because you're making them feel like they're in control of the situation. The key is to be respectful and considerate. Don't try to force the other person to say yes. Just give them some options and let them choose what works best for them. Persuasion is a powerful tool that can help you get what you want in life. By following the tips above, you'll be well on your way to becoming a master persuader. Remember to start small, use scarcity, give reasons, start with the first word, give choices, and make people feel like they're in control. With practice, you'll be able to persuade anyone to say yes.